Thank you guys. I hope everything is, you can see me properly. I should wait for you to come on. Sometimes the internet just takes a little bit of time to kind of load up so I can actually, click on the live to come through. So thank you guys, those of you that have joined. You're going to have to let me know who you are by giving me a thumbs up or something, but I shall most certainly acknowledge you, as I do appreciate everybody that comes on here. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. So hello Beverly, thank you for joining. And do share the video. And we're going to talk a little bit about, sharing videos and stuff like that. But yes, it's going to be interesting. Thank you very much, Christabel. And Ifwaduku, who is amazing. She shares everything every week. I do not know why others don't follow suit, but hey, I can only but ask. Thank you, Jeffton, for joining. Everyone else who's joining, please do give me a thumbs up so that I can acknowledge you, because, it's your Sunday evening. You could be sleepy. You could be doing many other things. So I don't take your presence for granted. Thank you very much, Anita. Thank you, Aisha. Yomi, lovely to have you on here. Ms, thank you for coming on here as well. Beverly, happy birthday to you today. A very, very happy birthday to you. So yes, another episode of Speak With Dilys. I wasn't expecting to see you guys so soon, because last week was a special, and it was a special for a reason, because I didn't think I was going to be doing any more. Hi, Adi. How are you doing, my love? Lovely to have you on here. Hi, Ade. How are you? I love your avatar. It's pretty cool. Hi, Denise. Important topic, especially for any community, actually. Any community, trust me. Yummy, yes, I know why you're laughing. You're horrible. Faith, hi. How are you doing? Evening. Thanks for coming back. Epi, you're a darling. Thank you. I'm really pleased to see, so many of you jumping on here since Facebook cleverly changed the settings so that I cannot actually create an event that you can see without paying, for it to be done. And I just think that, what, if I even have 5 people watching, then that's fine. Yes. So shall we get started? First of all, how are you guys doing today? I will not say how I'm feeling. I might do. But how are you guys doing today? How do you feel? Give me a thumbs up if you feel great. Give me a thumbs... Is there a thumbs down? Give me a sad face if you're not feeling great today. But let me know how you're feeling, and, let me just see how my people are doing, so I don't just start rambling on and, somebody may not be too happy, so that I can take care of you. You know what I mean? So I've only seen like 2 people. What's happening? So does that mean that all of you are feeling pretty crap right now? Okay. Well, if you're feeling pretty crap, then, I pray that by the end of this, that you do feel a little bit better. And yes, let me see, I know why you're not feeling great, and I'm not feeling amazing myself for the same reason. Aisha said managing. Well, I hope that whatever it is that is making you just to manage and not be overflowing with joy and what have you, that it changes. Yomi says, fine, dozing off before I came on here. Well, that's good. And I'm glad that I've been able to wake you up a bit. So that's good. Denise says she's good. That's brilliant. Christabel is good. That's great. Okia Sakura, how are you doing? Okia's, watching from the States. Kathy, you did find me. Thank you very much. Kathy's a wonderful lady who found me via the other video that I did, was it 2 days ago, where I was talking about how to deal with sudden grief in these times. Hi, Kay, thanks for joining. And Julia Roberts says she's surviving. Let me just deviate a little bit and let me address how we're feeling. Number one, I want to commend you for your honesty. Many times we ask people, oh, how are you doing? And you are supposed to, the scripted response is, oh, I'm fine, I'm doing great. If you're not, please don't say that you are, because it's important that people are able to reach out to you and give you that support. Because some of us, when we're asking that question, we really want to know, how are you doing? Genuinely, honestly, how are you feeling? So that if you're not in a good place, or there's something bugging or bothering you, you have that space created for you to express how you're feeling. And like I always say, that negative emotions are like a river. They're supposed to flow. They're not supposed to remain stagnant. If you look at what happens to stagnant water, it becomes a swamp, and swamps stink. Okay, and then they start to breed all kinds of diseases. Well, you know what? It's no different for us. If we allow the stagnancy of negative emotion to remain, it stinks and it breeds all kind of diseases such as depression, such as mental health problems, physical problems, okay? Not feeling good has a physical manifestation that takes place as well. So, the next time somebody asks you, how are you feeling? Be honest. How am I feeling today? I'm feeling a lot better now that I'm on here. Now that I've had to have a shower. I've had to, put my face on. I've had to brush my hair. I am feeling better. Yesterday or early hours of this morning, very dear friends lost a daughter. For their privacy, I don't want to mention their name, but it was an exceptionally painful piece of news that many of us, I won't say woke up to because I didn't even go to sleep, but it was very painful as a mother, as a friend, as just a human being. I just want to acknowledge their loss, and I am exceptionally sorry for your loss. And I pray that in time that you get the comfort that you need, because in times like this, no one can say anything to make it better. So God bless all of you who have been honest about how you're feeling. Those of you that feel great, God bless you. May you feel greater. And for those of you that don't feel great, I pray that the Lord will give you peace and he will give you a settled heart. And whatever that problem or situation is, I pray that it will be better and that solution will come quickly for you in Jesus' name. Amen. I'm a Christian. I make no secret about it. So I will express my support through that avenue because that is what I know. So it's not meant to offend or to segregate or to separate anybody. This is what I know. If I was a Muslim, if I was whatever other religion, that is how I'm sure they would express themselves. So please do not be offended when you hear me praying or singing. That's who I am. It's part of who I am. It's part of what you enjoy about me. So I can't help but say God bless you, because I do want God to bless you. So do excuse my language if anybody feels that it's there to, or it's a Christian broadcast. It's not that at all. Okay, so let's just deal with that, because you never know who's watching, and I don't want people to feel that, oh, it's not for them. I am absolutely for you. So thank you very much. So I'm glad that we've spoken about that. So can we just breathe in, breathe out, and just relax and shake your body? Oops, that maybe I shouldn't be shaking, but shake your body. You got to bring some humor into these things. I'm telling you, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. So yes, maybe I won't do the shaking bit, but roll your shoulders. I actually have a massage booked for 10 p.m. tonight. I like to have my massages late. I dim my light. I have the candles. I have some lovely music, and then I have my massage and I go to bed. So I really do take care of myself, and I think it's something that you guys should do as well. So let me just welcome a few people, and then we're going to really get into this, because there's a lot, and you'll see why there's so much. So John, thank you for just coming on here. Sue Kenya, Christabel, I would definitely invite you on later on. So do put in that request, and I'll let you know when people can come on. Tina Menz, thank you for joining. Amanwa, thank you for joining. Gillian, thank you. Tublu, who is I've known since I was the age of 10 in primary school. We used to fight like cat and dog. I absolutely love him. He's a pain in the ass, but he's a great guy. Yeah, I've said it. You can't do anything and you can't answer. Gillian, lovely to have you on here. So yes, guys, let's get cracking. So Speak With Dilys. It is a broadcast that I decided to do because I felt that we needed to have conversations that we don't have often enough, and conversations that are honest, that are authentic, that allow people to have their voices heard. So what a lot of the content that I will bring to you, it comes from conversations that I have had with many people, not just what I think or what I feel or what I have personally experienced. Again, my background as a transformational life coach, specializing in emotional independence, and recently in grief coaching, confidence and all that wonderful kind of stuff. From the people that I speak to, I bring some of that content to the table as well, and people that I minister to as well. So that's why Speak With Dilys was created. Welcome to Series 2, Episode 1. Last week was a special. I wasn't actually going to do another one because this is going to be moving onto a TV platform. It should have happened this month, but obviously things have happened for a reason. Delay is not denial. So that was why I didn't come back in September when I promised to. but I'm here now. Better late than never. So don't hold it against me. Okay? So we cool? We cool? If we're cool, give me a thumbs up. If you don't hold it against me and we're good, give me a thumbs up or give me a heart, give me something. Let me know that we're all good. You know, we're not bearing any grudges against me for keeping you waiting for September, October, November, December, January, 4 months. Yeah, don't. Okay. Thank you guys very much. God bless you. I love you all. Okay, so the content of Speak With Dilys, it's about things that matter, people who count, and information that needs to be heard. I really do believe that there is a lot of information out there that needs to be heard. And do excuse me when I'm not looking into the camera. I do have some notes on here that I may just give a quick glance to every so often. So, today's episode, family. Family, foes and feuds. I think a good place to start with is, what do we understand family to be? Because there are certain things that we take for granted where we think that, oh, because we feel that this is a definition of family, that's everybody's definition of family. Because everybody's experience of family is unique. It's like marriage. People say, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. Well, marriage can be that to you. It's certainly not that to my parents who've been married for 60 years and still hold hands and still have pet names for each other. So what do we understand family to be? By all means, post your comments and your definitions in there and I'll read a couple of them out. Hi, Samantha. Thank you for joining. Hello, John Gordon, a brother from another mother. How you doing? Great to have you on here. Thank you very much. Guys, we're talking about families here. I think it's every single one of us come from a family, whether we're estranged from them or very much, involved with them. So if you are led to, if you're feeling me this evening, please just click that share button. That would be great. Aisha says, family is anybody who cares for her. That is an excellent definition of family. Gloria, thank you for joining. Family, in general terms, is how we look at a unit of a parent or one or more parents living with their children as exactly that, as a unit. Okay, that's like the general definition of what a family is. Very, very loose. And I think even from social science perspectives, there will be a lot of very interesting definitions for that. Kathy says, blood does not define my family. I agree. Love defines it. I love that. Amanda says I look beautiful. Thank you very much, Amanda. You're a sweetheart. Amanda is like, she's like a daughter to me because I am old enough to be her mum. She's a great businesswoman. She's based in Ghana. She does, she sells hair. She sells food stuff. She has a charity that supports orphans. Now, one thing about me, I am a great supporter of anything that is good and is authentic and is making an impact. So when you come on my Facebook Live and I am aware of what you do, I will always give you a shout out. Okay? I support people is very important. So Amanda, I love you, darling sweetheart. You keep doing what you're doing. Okay? Faith, thank you very much for joining. She says, which one, nucleus or extended? You tell me. What does family mean to you? Some people don't know what an extended family is because it's their 2.4 children. So it's your definition. I'm not saying this is what a family is. That's definitely not what I'm doing tonight. Miss says, family is a valued connection or relationship with someone who may or may not be a kin. Love that too. Amanda says, thank you, Auntie. God bless you too, sweetheart. My pleasure. So we've had a few definitions. Oh, hi, Justina. How are you doing? A few definitions of what you guys feel that family is. And I can't say any of you are wrong because, again, some things are so unique because of the experiences we've had. So when we're talking family, we're going to have to expand what that definition is so that we can address some of those things that take place within family that keep us in bondage because of what society says family is. So if family says it's blood and it's a mother and a father raising their children together in unity within a marriage, that means that anybody who does not have a mother or a father does not come from a family. That cannot be right. It means that a person must be living in the home with their spouse in order to be classed as a family. That is also not correct. It would also mean that a person raising a child on their own does not qualify to be seen as a family. That also is not correct. So this is the reason why I am not giving, and you'll be hard pressed to find a description of family that speaks for everybody. Trust me, I've tried. The one thing that is in agreement, the one thing that is not ambiguous, is the expectation of the role of the family. Once you are in a family, you are expected to perform certain functions. For example, as a parent, you are supposed to perform the function of provider. You are supposed to perform the function of nurturer. You are supposed to form a function of stability, of giving love, of kindness, of responsibility. Again, for some people, that does not describe their family. So what do we do when we are raised in a family that contradicts what society claims a family should be, and when it doesn't perform that function for a child who is now an adult, and they now want to ostracize themselves or disconnect themselves from the family? How are they viewed and how are they seen? And that's predominantly what I want to go through tonight, because because of the work that I do, and just the fact that I'm nosy and I talk to a lot of people, I hear a lot of stories. I myself am privy to experience because I come from a family. So I think it's worth exploring this topic, because a lot of the prickly people that you see in society today who are difficult, or who are, let me choose my words carefully, who are deemed to be difficult, who are perceived to be, difficult to get on with, or challenging to be in a relationship with, if you look carefully and you check their background, I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10, the answer is in their childhood. Whether it's what they witnessed or what was done or what they were exposed to, personally, it will give you a good indication of why they are the way they are. So when we are addressing some of the challenges we're having in adulthood, it is crucial that we go back and we do a little bit of process mapping to see what has gone on there and the effects that it has had on us. Because I can guarantee you it would have had some effect and some impact, not just how you behave as an adult, but how you show up in your own relationships. So it's important that, we start to deal with the cause and stop dealing with the symptoms. We throw these phrases around like, oh, this person is just insecure. I will not lie and say I have never said it before, because I have. However, when we take our time to look at where that insecurity has come from, it has a genesis. And we need to address that genesis before we can get to that promised land, i.e. that place of peace, that place of emotional independence, where we are able to own who we are, warts and all, in the absence of condemnation. Okay, so it's very important that we're able to do that exploratory work. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you so much for joining. Yvonne has a show herself, so please do check her out. I believe her status on Facebook is public, and she does have a radio show as well. If I'm wrong, Yvonne, please correct me and put it in the comments. And I was just saying before you came on that for me, I support people who are doing things to support others, okay? This pie, okay, is very big. There are so many people that need emotional support that it's not just one person's job. I cannot do it on my own. Yvonne cannot do it on her own. Others who are out there supporting people cannot do it on their own. So there is really no sense in being selfish and insular, because for every one person that wants to help somebody, there's 20 more that need help, okay? So let's always, spread the love and be unselfish in how we do that, yeah? It's not about self. I always say that to lead, you must first serve. You've got it. I am your servant. I don't come here from this place. I come here, you are here, I'm here, and I'm coming up to you, not the other way around, okay? So I'm coming to give that support. Okay. Yes, Yvonne says she's got an internet TV show. So do check her out. Her name is Yvonne Michelle. Go on her Facebook and she will be happy to have you there. Go follow her as well. Okay. So as I was saying about family, we've got to do that introspection and that process mapping of where did we begin to end up where we are now. It is hard. It is painful. It is difficult because, again, there's different things that we have experienced in our childhood that some of us don't want to remember. Some of us want to forget where we came from. Some of us are working damn hard to redefine and repaint a picture that doesn't remotely resemble who we were in our childhood, because it's not a place of stability. It's not a place that holds good memories. It's a place where some people lost their innocence. It's a place where, some people saw things that they shouldn't see or went through things that they shouldn't have gone through. So today I'm not so much talking about people that have had amazing upbringing. However, I'm not belittling or discarding you, because I would need your voice to encourage those who have been through the negatives, that you do have it within you to create a family unit that does not have to resemble what you have been through. So what we're doing here is breaking that generational curse with knowledge. Knowledge is power. You will know the truth and the truth will make you free. The only reason why we are in bondage and a slave to things that have happened in our past is because we aren't aware of the truth or how to apply the truth to ourselves in order for it to set us free. So does that make sense to you guys so far? If it does, give me a thumbs up, put something in the comment box, because I don't want to leave anybody behind. So I know that, you're very quiet. So I know that you must be listening unless you've left your phone or your computer somewhere. But I've had one heart out of all the people that are watching. If it makes sense, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make sense, I'm not here for people to just agree with me and just nod their head. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. And I will qualify, or I will go over something if maybe I have not been as clear as I would have loved to have been clear. NM says, just love listening to you for the first time. Oh, bless you. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on. I appreciate everybody that comes on, but especially, the first timers as well. So thank you. Ifya is my cousin. How are you, my darling? Aisha, it's always a pleasure to have you on here. And you were such a faithful viewer on the last series. So I do appreciate you. Denise says, amen and amen. My book, Back to Love, is a testimony to that healing. Did you hear that? There's a book by somebody by the name of Denise James called Back to Love. Can you post a link and put it in the comment box so that people can go and get that book? Beth says, oh, hi, Beth, how are you doing? Yes, absolutely, it's true. I think it is possible to break generational trauma. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. Hi, Abhinav, thank you for joining. Love from Norway. Oh, thank you very much. You're beautiful too. Thank you so much for joining. It's really lovely to have people from different countries. So far, we're all on the same page. That is great. So thank you very much. So now we're going to start whizzing through. Let me see. Wow, nearly half an hour has gone. I haven't even gotten started, girls and boys. But let's see. If it has to be a part 2, then no problem. So I'm going to kind of whiz through this. So I've asked the question of what is family and how do we define it? And what does family mean? And the general consensus of what family stands for. And I think we've kind of gone through that. Oh, hi, hi, Marilyn. How are you doing? Marilyn is as they say in Nigeria, even though I'm not sure if I'm Nigerian, but it's another story. My personal person. Okay, so that's my Nigeria, my personal person. Yasfoda says, powerful, I totally relate about building a new family. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, what does it mean to come from a toxic family? Because I think sometimes we use these phrases and we just assume that everybody knows what it means. So I've written something out here. And what I've written is a toxic family is one where your family members don't respect your boundaries. Okay? A toxic family has members that create an unhealthy family connection. So that's a family where there is a lot of manipulation, disrespect, very, very poor interpersonal reactions. Yummy go, yeah? Yemi says they need to dash me a Nigerian passport. I'll speak to you later. It will make sense. It also speaks about situations where your emotional and mental health is at stake. That is what a toxic family is. When you are in a family, that whenever you are in contact with them, whether it's over the phone, whether it's in person, whether it's via email, you come away like this. You're either like this, or you're angry, or you feel this small. Or you're taken back to a place where you begin to question your very existence. That's when you know that you come from a toxic family. Do you understand? So a toxic family is where the interpersonal skills between yourself and your family members are poor. Oh, hi Zoe, how are you doing? No, don't worry about being late, sweetheart. It's just lovely to have you. It's about having poor interpersonal relationships with different people within your family. Those relationships that you come away from feeling this small, or feeling condemned, or feeling unworthy, or feeling stupid because you're told you're stupid or you're made to feel stupid. Okay? So Denise, thank you for joining. She says, worse still if they live with you. That is like a double whammy. Because, and you're absolutely right, because some, toxic families, you're forced to live with them. And you're right to have pointed that out, because my mind was more on living together in childhood and then obviously growing up and moving out. But there's times where, which is ironic, because the control of being a part of that toxic family forces you to have to live with. Whether it's because your time is being demanded over your other siblings to be a carer for a certain member of the family, or your money is demanded more than others, it all contributes and defines what a toxic family is. I love what Kathy just said. It is easy to spot, hard to get away from. You're absolutely right. Yes? Beth says your fight or flight or freeze switch is flipped. Okay, so let me just explain what Beth means. When you're faced with a frightening situation, there are a few things that we either do. We either stand and fight, or we run, or we freeze. And that's normally when we're faced with situations, or it's always when we're faced with situations where we feel endangered, or if we feel traumatized. So sometimes it's not always easy to run away from trouble. Sometimes it's not appropriate to run away. Sometimes it's appropriate to run. Sometimes you just freeze. But I will go into that maybe another time, just to discuss how we respond to traumatic situations, or as I said, situations where we sense danger, or we are exposed to a very present danger. Okay? So having defined what a toxic family is, the traits of a toxic family are sometimes abuse, be it physical abuse, verbal violence, I like to call it verbal abuse, whether it is discrimination within the family, and you will be surprised the things that can make people be discriminated against in their family. It can be anything from looks down to skin complexion, down to academic ability. These are some of the things that one can face within a family. I mean, I obviously can't mention the person's name, but there's somebody that I'm friends with who's a very good looking lady. And she doesn't feel good looking. And I look at her and I just want to slap her, actually. I'm like, are you serious? Simply because in the home that she grew up in, she was of a different complexion to some of her siblings. Yet she's prettier than them, which is what makes me like, But that has had such a profound effect that of a woman who is well past her 30s still has that voice of, you are not pretty, you are not good looking. Those things are toxic. Any environment that you grow up in that doesn't allow you to come out of it feeling worthy, important, balanced emotionally, mentally, and sometimes spiritually, or I would say often spiritually as well, is toxic. Okay? So what do you do when you come from such a family? And how do you come out? Because the fact that you share the same DNA should not be a license or a free pass for people to emotionally abuse you. The fact that that emotional abuse or that toxic behavior is coming from the mother or the father of the family doesn't make it okay. Where we are greatly challenged, some of us, because of our cultural backgrounds, it makes it difficult to be able to say, stop, I do not want this to happen. This is not okay. But unfortunately, you are going to have to learn, because unfortunately, there is no middle ground when you are dealing with toxic characters. There is no middle ground when you are dealing with toxic people within the family. At some point, you are going to have to find your voice and draw your boundaries, because the only way to deal with toxic family members is to define your own boundaries. No one can define them for you. That's a responsibility that you are going to have to dig deep and you are going to have to take for yourself. No one can help you with that, i.e. doing the actual work. People like me, I'm a coach and what have you. I can help you in terms of giving you that support, but the actual doing, you will have to do. I won't enter into your family and say, hey, will you leave Joe Blogs alone because da 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 da. You have to grow in your power, and as an individual, as an adult male or as an adult female, recognizing that you are an adult. You are no longer that child that can be screamed at in that corner and be left and told how stupid you are or how useless you are, or that child who has to take on the role of the parent because the parent is not functioning as a parent, whether it's through drink, whether it's through drugs, whether it's through emotional abuse, whether it's through being too reliant on you emotionally and making themselves the child and you the caregiver. You are going to have to redefine who you are within that family and whether you are going to remain or whether you are going to leave. Now, this episode was supposed to be talking about toxic families and feuding families, but in my spirit, I'm sensing this toxic family is where I need to stay for a moment. And I don't have... Okay, it's only 37 minutes past. So we'll see how far we can get with that. But I think that it's something that I need to really home in on. Because many of us, and I see this with men more than women, have children inside, i.e. that little boy is there disguised as a man. And I'm not picking on the men, I love my men. But I'm saying this because as women, again, going back to what society says you are allowed to do, we are allowed to be more expressive with our emotions. I will always challenge anyone that says women are more emotional than men. It's a lie. It's absolute nonsense. Women are not more emotional than men. We just express our emotions differently. And that's why I'm always highly irritated when anytime you're speaking about women, some person will pipe up, yeah, but men also, no. When you're speaking about men, yeah, but women, it irritates me. Allow people to hold their space. I always say to people that if somebody was championing the cause of breast cancer, you don't ever pipe up and say, yo, yeah, but men have suffer from prostate cancer. Yeah, we know that, but today we're talking about breast cancer. So shut up, yeah? So when we're speaking about women, focus. When we're speaking about men, focus. Because half the problems, and I digress a little bit, but I think it's something that we women need to hear. Half the reason why we women have the problems that we have with the men that we want to marry and date is when men are telling us how they truly feel, we're saying, no, that's not how you feel. It's something else. We always want to act like men are women. They are not. They are unique and they are also wonderfully made and should be respected for everything that makes them men. Stop trying to dumb down the power that men should have and should remain in them. And it's because we do not allow them to be that we have this toxic masculinity that we then complain about. So we need to back off a little bit. And that's why I'm having to say that there are a lot of men that have that boy child in them because society hasn't allowed them to be able to be as expressive as us women. So the next time your man looks down and he needs that moral support, don't just pat him on the back, go and hug him and give him some words of encouragement. Because when I speak to a lot of guys, and when I hear men say that, oh, I don't cry, I can't remember the last time I cried, it frightens me. It frightens me, because therein lies somebody whose background was toxic, or they were exposed to things as young boys that they should not have been exposed to. And we who want to marry them and date them are suffering for it. So we break that cycle by speaking positively into the lives of our men and men generally and boys, so that they know that their emotions are also valid. Can I get an amen? Because I don't know, I felt that it was very, very necessary for me to say that. Unfortunately, we are living in a society that everything has to be a melting pot. Everything does not have to be a melting pot. Men are men and women are women. If you don't like it, you can log out, okay? Men are men and women are women. Whether somebody identifies as a man or a woman is a different argument for a different day. But for whoever identifies as a man, treat them as such. Don't say, but women as well. If a woman is identifying as a woman, don't say, oh yeah, but men as well. Allow people to be. Because for as long as we keep crossing over, the unique needs that are unique to women are not going to be attended to. The unique needs that pertain to men are not going to be attended to. And we will sit there playing political correctness whilst we are dying inside. So we need to stop it. And I've said it. Okay? It's very important that we've got to be honest. Because some of this toxicity, every broadcast, I have to have a word that gets me. Every situation that we find with people where we're talking about how insecure they are or how prickly they are, they haven't been allowed to be. And I'm not saying that's license for people to run around misbehaving, but what I am saying is that allow people to be who they are, so that where they have those emotional potholes, as I like to call them, that we are kind enough to allow them to be empowered to fill them themselves. It's not about just telling people what to do to fix them. It's about hearing them, listening to them, allowing them to offload and pour out and say, this is how I feel. Let's address how you feel without judgment, without prejudice. Yeah? So I may have digressed somewhat, but I do feel that it's relevant because it's feeding into this whole toxic, situation. If we look at this issue of coming from toxic families, there are a lot of signs of dysfunction that we can, identify. Too many. So I'm just going to go through. I think I wrote down, more than 3, but I'm just going to talk about 3. So, for example, infantilization, treating you as a child for as long as possible. You will be surprised how powerfully crippling that is. And why I say that is when that parent or those siblings are able to continue to treat you like a child, what that does is it stops you from being able to have a voice. It allows your opinion to be classed as irrelevant, and it allows you to be walked over and to be made to feel irrelevant and insignificant, of no importance, of somebody whose contribution to any situation to do with the family doesn't hold water. And it can be anything from maybe your level of academic achievement doesn't mirror your siblings. Or it could be the fact that you're not married. That's always a great one, whether male or female. If you're not married and don't have children, you're classed as not quite serious, not quite having reached that level of responsibility. But there are many parents who are, many parents out there, there are many people who are married who are not responsible. Otherwise, you wouldn't have children's homes. You wouldn't have children sleeping rough. So it's funny what society uses to define the worth of a person. The question is, are you going to allow society or other people to determine your worth? Or are you going to do that? That's something that you have to determine. Okay? Society will always have a box and a label to either stick on you or to put you in. As a woman, there are a lot more labels for us. Because as a woman, we have to look at, are you pretty? Are you slim? Nowadays, have you got a butt? Are you married? Do you have children? It doesn't even stop at, do you have children? Have you only got one child? I mean, God, what happened? How come you haven't got another? So there are a lot of boxes that we place women in from the moment we're born. The question is, are you going to allow yourself to remain in that box? For me, I never allowed myself to be put in that box. I had one foot on the side, and people, society was trying to push me, and I'm like, no, you're not going to do that to me. Because nobody puts me in a box. If I'm in the palm of God's hands, how dare you, who do you think you are to pluck me out and put me in a box? And again, as I said, as a Christian, a part of the confidence that a lot of you, admire, it comes from there. Now, there's a phrase in the Bible that says that, that I am imprinted on the palm of God's hands. Now, when I look at what that means, if something is imprinted in your palm, it means I go wherever you go. It means wherever you are, I am. It means all you have to do is close your palm and I'm protected. So when I have that mental image, and imagery is very important, when I have that mental picture in my mind, when someone comes along and says, but you're a widow, therefore, I'm like, Widowhood was an event that happened in my life. It did not define me moving forward. Very rarely will you hear me refer to myself as a widow unless I'm doing a talk for the purposes of clarification. It's not a title I wear. Really, I was widowed. It happened. I cannot change it. I embrace it as part of my journey, but I certainly will not dwell there indefinitely. I will not. So how you view yourself, it greatly contributes to how people are going to treat you within the family. You have to give permission to be disrespected. You have to be, you have to give permission to be ignored. You have to give permission to allow somebody to tell you that you are of no value. And, I've shared this before where I was 7 months pregnant with my daughter and I was working at a local authority, a horrible place. In fact, I'll mention it was Barking and Dagenham, actually, that I worked in. I was treated horribly, disgracefully. And actually, I lost the contract it was actually on my birthday, 11th of August, 2006. I was 7 months pregnant with my daughter. She was due in the October. And I remember being called into the office and one of the managers, one of the three conspirators, it was a crazy experience, called me into the office, and that's where I met Denise Brewster in 2005. And we have been friends ever since. And also Beverly Huzik celebrating her birthday today. That's where I met her. And this person called me into his office, and I've shared this before. He said to me that I was of no value. Me, as a whole human being, carrying a child, I was of no value. Not that I was dispensable, not that the company or the organization didn't need me anymore. What I was told was I was of no value. Okay? This is why I hate people saying, just ignore. Don't just ignore. You got to say something. Because if you don't say something, you have allowed that seed to have the last word. You better say something. So I said to him, you have known me for 18 months. You do not have the right to tell me whether I am of value. I said, you don't know the kind of wife I am, the kind of mother I am, the kind of friend I am, the kind of sister I am. You don't have the right to tell me that I am of no worth. I had to give him permission. So when he spoke, I took that power back from out of his mouth. You don't tell me what I'm worth and what I'm not worth. And because I did that, I did not carry that burden. I did not carry that destructive seed in me. I killed it. Likewise, when people say things, I'm not saying don't respond and run around like a headless chicken for anything someone said. No, but I'm saying that the words that are spoken, words are spirit and they are life. So the words that are spoken, that when the conversation is over, When you're on your own, you'll be thinking about it, you'll be contemplating, you'll be worrying about it, you'll be stressing. You better say something. You better say something. You must give permission for people to disrespect you. So, no, Yomi, I didn't cower. I was bold. And don't get me wrong, I know that being bold is not easy for everybody. But this is why we're having these conversations, so that we can go back, look at our childhood and see where we have had our power taken away from us. Because again, when you look at some of our cultures, we aren't encouraged to speak. Even in the Western culture, back in the day, what was the phrase? Children are seen but not heard. That's ludicrous. Children are supposed to be heard, running around having fun and being children. If you go to a place where you will expect to see children and you don't hear them, something is seriously wrong. So children are absolutely supposed to be heard. So it's important that we go back and we address those environments that we were raised in, so that we can say, you know what, this was not great. But, another thing that just dropped in my spirit as well is sometimes we want to have that apology and that acknowledgement that, yes, you did me wrong, and because of what you did to me, this is why I am where I am. Let me tell you the danger in that. You've got to ask yourself that in the absence of that acknowledgement, can you move forward? You've got to ask yourself that question. In the absence of that acknowledgement, can you move forward? Because sometimes you're not going to get a sorry. Sometimes you're not going to get the regret. Sometimes you're not going to get the remorse. Sometimes people are happy to have done you wrong. Sometimes people are happy to have done you evil. That was their intention. Whether you allow your power to remain with them is your choice. It is absolutely your choice. So when we're going back to address some of the toxic things that have happened to us within our families, sometimes you have got to accept it happened. And the only thing that you can do about it is to make peace with it. Because if we don't do that, and we are trying to heal and move forward because we're still alive and we're still here, and the person that has done us wrong is dead and gone, where does that leave you? You can't go and shake them in the grave. So you've got to ask yourself, in the absence of getting that acknowledgement, what are you going to do and what does it mean for you? Sometimes, you're going to have to sit there and, have this chair in front of you, and I'm just going to, demonstrate this and say, look, and just imagine, look, Dad, what you did really hurt me. I'm angry with you. You're not here for me to speak to you, but I'm angry with you. And you've hurt my feelings. And what you did has made me feel worthless, and you belittled me and you humiliated me. But I know that I'm a good person. I know that I'm loved. I know that I have a lot to offer. You weren't right. I'm right because I know myself. And it may require you to have a conversation with that person that's not there, whether they're living or whether they're dead, so that you can make your peace concerning the toxic, sorry, I think my daughter adjusted this chair, concerning that toxic environment that you were brought up in. Because for as long as you are waiting for the acknowledgement before you move forward, you're wasting your time. Life is too precious and life is too short. I have 7 minutes. Wow. Okay, let's see what we can do in 7 minutes. Let me read some of your comments. Right, let's have a look. Let's go back. I think there's so many, and I really do appreciate a lot of you who have joined today, and I appreciate each and every one of you if you would be so kind as to share the broadcast. The problem with Facebook now, and I'll just quickly explain this, I've given up, doing the whole event thing. I'm not going to bother. It will be on my personal page, and it will be on this fan page, so do like the page and do follow and share, and just come here. At least by the Wednesday, you will have the topic, but I decided that I'm going to try and give you the topic a week in advance, but be flexible, bear with me, because if something comes up that is really important to discuss, that's very topical, I may switch what that topic is. But I'm just doing this so that you know what to expect. So I wanted to speak about, what did I want to speak about? there were two topics. One I was toying with that I think is quite important, and that is about this frightening revelation that a lot of men have fathered children that they aren't the fathers of. And in some places, they want to make DNA testing mandatory because of the number of women that are passing off kids or their husbands' children as being theirs when they're not. That likely will be the topic for next week. But again, you know, we're going to explore it from different angles. And I think you'll be quite surprised at some of the angles that I'm going to come from. So that may be the topic next week, Sunday at 8 o'clock. So let me read some of your comments. Okay, let's see. Kathy said, widowhood is part of your human experience. Indeed, it is. Beth says, was abused by, sorry, and I didn't see the rest of that. I don't know what the rest of that said. Aisha said, you hit the nail on the head. Yamisi says, do you know I do this every week? Yamisi says, thank you, Dilys. This echoes our conversation earlier today. I had to counsel myself a while ago about taking my space and closing the door on those who would fan their own insecurities by degenerating others. Yeah, it's very, very, very important, you know. Beth says, the abuser in my family was by my grandmother, his mother. You know, and thank you for confirming that it can be, you know, anybody within the family. Samantha says, my husband always refused to show emotion unless it was happiness or anger. But when he lost his eyesight in 2015 and we lost our daughter earlier that same year, I'm so sorry for your loss, and I believe that's how we connected. He learned to share his emotions and know that it's okay to cry, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to feel insecure. There is always a result at the end of it all. Keeping it all in is bad because the immediate family suffers. I could not agree with you more. I could not agree with you more. And thank you so much for that really important comment. Mrs. Just as they allow you to be heard, you must allow them, that courtesy also. 100%. Alison says, indeed, and the understanding with empathy, absolutely. Denise says, real talk. Nina Fabi says, showing empathy. So, it's good that we must show empathy. Onyameba says, bless you, we are all unique in our own way. Thank you. We are so special, each and every one of us. And, you know, I always say that the more trials and tribulations that you face, it just goes to show the degree of how unique and special and a formidable person that you are, that the elements of the devil must be real scared of you because, you know, they know that once they let you loose, you will have such an impact. So just know that the more, you know, the heavier the weight of your trial, know that you carry something that is awesome and you are awesome. There is nobody that is irrelevant. There is nobody. Look, the person that fitted my kitchen, I've just had a new kitchen done. I talk to people because I love people and I like to learn about people. The guy is a qualified psychologist. A qualified psychologist. Highly intelligent individual. When I was doing my mental health talk, I believe 2 weeks ago, there he was in my kitchen drawing a diagram and teaching me. Don't ever look down on anybody. Don't look down on people. Don't look at people's titles and assume you know who they are. You don't know who they are. This gentleman was fitting my kitchen. Qualified psychologist, teaching me something. But when you have that spirit of pride and, oh, this person is just this, or they come from this kind of a family, do you know you'll be missing out on some pretty amazing people? You know, there are so many, it's about these boxes. Build up, thick. So-and-so, you know, divorced, loose. Widowed, desperate. Come away from these titles because you are depriving yourself from some amazing people that you could be encountering and them enriching your life. So it is 8:58. Let's whiz through a couple more. What have I done? A couple more comments. Let me go down to the bottom. I had wanted to invite people on, but I think there might have to be a part 2 to this. Christabel said, this is so true. Never look down on anyone. Never, never, never. Let me see. Denise James says, man and woman, both made with tear ducts. I love that. Strength in vulnerability. I love that. I love that. I'm just gonna steal that from you. Yomi says, can't wait for that either. What can't you wait for? What am I missing? Ifwa says, growing up, I have deserved some parents I have observed some parents transfer so much power to their elder children without taking into consideration balance of duty or responsibility, hence resulting in making young ones lose their voices, even to the extent that the old never admits when they are wrong because they have the parents' backing. Do you know what? That was on my list. And because of time, I'm probably not going to be able to go into it, but you are absolutely correct. And that's a cultural thing sometimes, where a lot of deference is given to the firstborn or the older child. And they shift that parental responsibility onto the older sibling to take care of the younger ones. So whenever there is a huge age gap, that older sibling is viewed as the parent, and they hold so much power, you would be surprised, even into adulthood. So much power. I'm going to whiz through this because my time is actually up now. So I'm just going to whiz through this. So looking for the signs of dysfunction, infantilization, being held to unrealistic expectations, where, the bar is constantly set here and you're never good enough for your parents or your family. That, contributes this toxic environment, never being good enough, being belittled, being neglected, having that parent-child role reversal, which we've spoken about. How do you get out of it? You've got to explore and understand where you were and accept the reasons for the dysfunction. It means you're going to have to do some homework. Sit down, look at, and I'll give you some pointers. As I said, I work as a coach. If you need that assistance, you contact me, we have a call, and we take it from there. But you're going to have to look at your parents and check out their upbringing and their experiences. You're going to have to look at your mum, you're going to have to look at your dad, or whoever it was that brought you up, if it was whatever. So you've got to do some exploratory work. You're going to have to literally take out a book and study what went on both sides so that you have an understanding. I'm not saying so that you make an excuse. I'm saying so that you have an understanding, because in the absence of an understanding, you will be incapable of knowing what not to do moving forward, because sometimes we exhibit and we reenact these things because they are subconsciously learned behaviors. So now what I'm trying to do is bring you into the consciousness of your situation so that you can identify what those issues have been so that you do not repeat them, okay? So you need to process and identify the effects it's also had on you. How has it made you feel, and what has been the impact of coming from such a background or coming from such a toxic family? Then you need to draw your boundaries, because unless you understand what has gone on, you will be incapable of drawing effective boundaries. What you will do is you may say, I'm not going to let that happen. But the moment the person takes position of being that authoritative, domineering, controlling voice, you're going to cower, because that's what you know. So in order to be able to stand your ground, and it's going to be uncomfortable, you're going to have to find your voice and be consistent and be persistent and not be swayed. Now, and I'm going to have to stop because it's 9:02. When is it okay to walk away? It is okay to walk away when the other side does not want to back down. What do I mean by that? When they up the ante on trying to maintain that power dynamic, it's time for you to call time and say, I'm out of here. The I'm out of here is not for me to define, it's for you to define. If that I'm out of here means I'm not going to take your phone calls, then so be it. If that time out means the moment you begin to raise your voice or to become insulting or to start belittling me, I can calmly, because I'm now in control. I'm now not reversing, I'm now not reverting to the child and lashing out, but to the controlled adult who knows who they are and owns their power, saying, I do not permit you to speak to me like that. I am happy to have this conversation once you have calmed down and once you can speak to me respectfully. Thank you very much for calling. I'll talk to you later. And putting that phone down. That is how you gain your power. But it takes a lot to get there. It takes a lot to get there with parents. Oh, because of our culture, many of us, where I come from, we even have a phrase that says, penindifo, which means that an adult is never wrong. Or we have another one that says, for as long as your parents are alive, you never grow up. It's ungodly. And it's not right. So it's important that we also take that into account, but knowing how we can walk away from those situations respectfully. It doesn't have to be, I'm not going to let you speak to me like that. I'm not a child. No, you can say, Mum, I'm sorry that you're upset and you're angry, but I don't think it's fair that I am being spoken to this way. You're upset. I'm upset. Can we please leave the conversation now until you have calmed down? Or so that we can have the conversation without us shouting at each other. Keep your voice at a very, very even keel. The moment you start to raise your voice, the moment you start to crack, you've lost the battle. What you've done is you've given back your power. Your power is in your control. Your power is in your consistency in being controlled. Guys, I have got to stop now. It is now 5 minutes past 9. Shock horror. So I just want to say a huge thank you for joining me today. I know it's a tough one because I didn't even get onto the family feuds bit. I think I'm going to do the family feuds as a separate session. When I was making my notes and doing my research, I thought, there's no way I can do this in an hour. So guys, I just want to thank you immensely for the support. Thank you for sharing. Considering that I have not been able to do the event thing that I normally would do, and there's been over 60 of you watching at some point, I greatly appreciate you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Much love to all of you. And for the new people that have come on, I really hope you've enjoyed it. Love you all, and I do not take your support for granted. God bless you, take care, and I shall see you next week, God willing, at 8 p.m, same place. God bless you, take care, bye-bye.